Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Living the Sweet Life. I'm your host, TJ Sweet, and on this podcast, we're going to help you get from where you are to where you want to be in every area of your life. Now, this topic that we're going to talk about today is going to be good. It's going to be something that really is going to impact your personal life, but also your work life. But before we go too far into it, you know, these episodes come out every Monday, every Mindset Monday. So go ahead and take a moment to hit that subscribe button so you get notifications. One, so you don't forget. And two, so that you remind yourself of the intention that you've been making to learn and grow every Monday. So this week, I really want to talk about this idea of accountability. It's one of our favorite words that we don't necessarily love to talk about, but it's really accountability and discipline is really the only way to actually maintain and sustain some of the goals that we have. Now, this idea of creating a culture of accountability, now that's a big topic, but we're going to break it down so that it's a little bit more kind of a how do you actually pull that off? But thinking about a culture of accountability is also how do you create a life and a lifestyle of accountability? Because that's really the only thing that gets us from where we are to where we want to be. So let's dive in. Let's learn how to create a culture of accountability. So one of the most critical elements of any high-performing team is accountability, self-accountability, team accountability. But when team members actually take ownership of their actions and responsibilities, everything runs better. From hitting deadlines to achieving company goals, everything's just a little bit smoother. Accountability isn't just about tracking progress or holding people to their word. It's not about discipline. It's about creating a culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute and where each person understands their personal responsibility for their piece of the puzzle, for their role on the team. We all know fostering accountability doesn't happen by accident. It requires deliberate and intentional effort from leaders who are committed to building a culture where people take ownership, not because they have to, but because they want to and they get to. So let's talk about, I made a statement that accountability is essential for high-performing teams. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So in any team, organization, or business, accountability is the foundation of trust. When team members know that they can rely on each other to deliver, they're more confident in their own roles. Accountability keeps everyone aligned, ensures transparency, and helps avoid the blame game when things go wrong. Instead of pointing fingers, teams that embrace this idea of accountability work together to find solutions. Again, we look from within instead of looking outward. And one of the most valuable lessons I've learned as a leader over the last 20 years is that accountability isn't just about getting results. It's about building a culture of integrity, of doing the right thing all the time. Early in my leadership career, I saw firsthand how, honestly, a lack of accountability can lead to frustration and stalled progress. Deadlines were missed, communication broke down, and even more, the team morale suffered tremendously. I realized that without clear expectations and a system to actually track the responsibilities, even though we had the best intentions, we were still falling short. However, when accountability is ingrained in the team as a culture, it becomes a powerful motivator. People don't want to let each other down, and they take pride in doing their part. High-performing teams, the teams I really get to work with, understand that accountability isn't just a box to check. It isn't something we should do. It's a core value that actually drives to the success, the goals that we have. So let's get into it. How can leaders cultivate and foster this accountability? So accountability starts at the top. As a leader, it's your responsibility to set the tone for how accountability is practiced within the team. It's not about micromanaging and constantly checking in on people. It's about creating an environment where the team members feel empowered to own their work and are motivated to meet their commitments. They're disciplined on their own. Sounds pretty great. Let's dive in on some practical ways to actually cultivate and foster this idea of accountability within the team. So the first thing you have to do to create a culture is set clear expectations. Clarity is the cornerstone of accountability. If your team doesn't know what's expected of them, they can't take the ownership. And be crystal clear on the goals and deadlines and each individual's responsibilities. Each person should know exactly what they're accountable for and how their contributions actually tie into the larger mission, to the team's success. And how do we do these things? It always starts at the top by leading by example. Accountability starts with you. If you want your team to take ownership, you have to model that behavior. You have to show up prepared, meet your deadlines, and hold yourself accountable to your actions. And when your team sees you leading by example, they're more likely to follow suit. As the leader goes, the team goes. Second thing you have to do is create an intentional feedback loop. Regular check-ins are essential for keeping everyone on track. This isn't about policing. It's about offering support and making sure that people have the resources they need to succeed. Create a structure where team members feel comfortable providing updates, admitting to failures, asking for help, and giving feedback along the way. These conversations have to be open, constructive, and focused on solutions and also curiosity. Now, the best way to do this and actually sustain this is making accountability collaborative. Accountability isn't a solo mission. It's a team effort. Encourage collaboration between team members so that they're not only accountable to you, but they're also accountable to each other. When people feel that their work actually impacts their peers, their effort matters, they're more likely to step up and deliver for the people that they trust. The only way to really measure this and manage this is to track it. So one of the easiest ways to ensure accountability is to use practical tools and use some goals and responsibilities. There are a ton of project management softwares that you could use, like shared calendars and accountability charts, that can actually help keeping everyone aligned and aware of their tasks. They have to see it, then they'll manage it differently. These tools offer visibility into what's being done, by whom, and by when. Now, let me actually share some of these tools that I've come across in my life, and these are actual practical tools to measure and track accountability. And to foster this accountability, it's important to have practical systems in place for tracking progress that ensures the responsibilities don't slip through the cracks. Here are a few different tools and techniques that I've found that have really helped me. So under some project management software, tools like Asana, Trello, or Monday allow teams to really track tasks, deadlines, and progress in real time. These platforms provide transparency and ensures that everyone knows what's expected of them, and then everybody's looking at the data and the tracking the same way. The second one's really easy. It's about accountability charts. Create accountability charts that clearly outline who is responsible for each aspect of the project or the goal. The visual representation keeps everyone on the same page and helps prevent overlap or confusion. You don't want people duplicating work just because they didn't have clear goals. And then lastly, of course, if you can't manage it, you can't measure it, you have to have regular check-ins and schedule regular team check-ins to review progress, address roadblocks, and celebrate successes. These check-ins should be part of your normal routine, daily, weekly, quarterly routine, whether it's through meetings or one-on-one conversations. We can't just assume no news is good news. Now, let me talk about some goal tracking tools like OKRs, objectives and key results, or SMART goals even, really, to ensure that teams have clear, measurable goals that they're working towards. Having a structure for goal setting keeps everyone accountable, using the same language, and align with the team's larger objectives. So now, how do you build a culture of trust and ownership? Accountability isn't just about getting things done. It is part of it, but it's not the whole thing. It's about creating a culture of trust. When team members take ownership of their roles, they build confidence in themselves and each other in what they're doing. Leaders who foster accountability create teams that are more engaged, more motivated, and more committed to achieving their goals. They're more agile because they know their effort matters to their team. So I'll wrap up this episode like I do with every other episode to remind you that you always have the power and the choice to reshape your mindset, live with intention, and look at the world through a grateful lens. Until the next episode, never stop.